So, running off of the theme of yesterday's video and what's basically going on YouTube right now with Lilly Singh's killing the game, absolutely killing all comedy out of life, there's this incredible article from the BBC, and I am shocked. Absolutely stone cold stunned. I'm blown away. They RKO'd me with this title. I haven't read the article yet because I wanted to see if I could make some pieces of content out of it, but BBC just put out an article that says men are funnier than women, a study claims. Now I don't know if they want the outrage to come off of this, or that it's just these are just facts that actually got done by a research group and this is what the findings showed. I don't know exactly how much funnier men are than women. I think that, you know, women can be funny. Lilly Singh is not an accurate representation of that, but men can be funny, and I don't know. I think that generally a female comedian is funny anyway, you know, unless they're a bad comedian. But most comedians, male or female, are funnier than anyone else who's not a comedian. So I don't know if this study is specifically going to talk about comedians or talk about regular people or regular people and comedians. But let's get to the study anyway. This could be interesting. It could be funny. I cannot wait for the backlash. But let's get to it. So it started off with an image of Kevin Hart. The lad, hope he's doing well. He obviously had that accident a little while ago. Pretty bad surgery, but hopefully he's all good. But it says here Kevin Hart is worth an estimated $60 million. $59 million. I rounded up, all right? Sue me. Man, he's making a lot of bank, but there you go. Here's the subheading. Men are funnier than women, researchers have claimed. I can taste the spice already. I can taste it. They looked at the results of various studies in which people were asked to rate men and women's humor, wow, without knowing their sex first. So there's nothing sexist about this. I assumed there was going to be some form of sexism in the study, and then people were going to be like, oh my god, this study is so sexist, even though there may have been like a 1% tinge of sexism. So there's nothing here in the study which makes it sexist. They didn't know the genders of the people. They probably just saw like the text of what someone had said, and that's what they came to. Wow. Okay, so there's no need for any spice at all here. There's no need for any outrage. It's genuinely just really factual. I'm surprised. BBC, you know, I suppose you were right to make an article on this, but it says researchers found that 63% of men were funnier than the average woman. Okay, so on average then, men are funnier than women, but it's not some crazy disparity. It's not like 100% of men are funnier than women, and it's not that 50% of men are funnier than women, because that would mean equal. 63%, so men are funnier than women en masse, you know? I mean, I tend to buy that, slightly. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know where I stand on that, in terms of my personal, maybe. Actually, I'd probably agree with that. I love how back and forth I go. I agree with that fact. The study looked at normal people rather than professional comedians. Right, okay. Because if you include comedians, then from a comedian standpoint, I think that male comedians are, for me, funnier than female comedians. There are funny female comics out there, but I think they're few and far between. And maybe it's simply because I don't find their type of comedy funny all the time. And I don't find most male comics funny. But the comics who I do like are men. But that's just, I don't know if that's really, it works in weird ways, like I said, because it's not that I just like a comic because they're male. The ones I like generally are men, but it's not because they're men. And I probably dislike more male comics than female comics because I'm aware of more male comics. Do you see what I mean? So I don't know. But this was comparing regular people, not comedians. So these comedians said the study was unnecessary. Well, it's not about comedians, it's about individual people. It's about regular people, so I don't see why the comedians would have a problem with that. With comedy, that's the last thing you want. Well, she worries it could put women off getting into comedy. So what if the report had shown that women were funnier than 51% of men? Would that have been okay? Like, that's only a 14% swing. It's not like it's a huge jump. You know, the standard deviation is there for there are mistakes. It's probably within a percent or two either way. So you could be looking at like a 10% swing. So it's not like it was super one-sided. Plus, they were anonymous when people gave their answers. And I don't know. I'm not buying this from these comedians. Yeah. Not having that. You want the worst and the best comedians to try because you never know. This study will cripple bravery. This hasn't made me any more brave to do stand-up comedy. Alright? Knowing that I'm funnier on average than 63% of women. Or men are 63% more. I don't know. What did it say? 63% of men were funnier than the average woman. That doesn't fill me with confidence because most people are not funny at all. And that doesn't push me to do stand-up comedy. It really doesn't. I do want to try it, but this study hasn't given me hope, if you look at it like that. I really think it's unnecessary to do this study. They could have done something progressive. What are you on about? Okay, sure. So now they're talking bollocks. Yay. Brave, power, independence. Yes, that's what I feel. It's so strong, so strong. Strong women. Researchers from Aberystwyth, I believe that's how you say that. If it's not, please correct me. It's in the UK somewhere. And the University of North Carolina analysed 28 studies which looked at how funny around 5,000 people were. So it's actually a pretty large study. It's pretty medium. They wanted to see whether the stereotype that men are funnier than women was true. Wow, so what have you given me here, BBC, so far? Like, just tell me what I want to hear. Writing in Psychology Today, lead researcher Dr. Jill Greengross. What a name. Her family were probably greengrocers before she became a, psychologist. This stereotype is shared by both men and women, but of course, just because it exists doesn't mean it's true. Well, I mean, generally, if a stereotype exists, it means it's true. It can be broken, but en masse, it's generally true. Right. Fact. In many of the studies they looked at, men and women were asked to write a funny caption to accompany a cartoon, and then independent judges rated their funniness without knowing their gender. Right, so it's basically what I thought they would have done to do this. The results found that, to the best of our knowledge, on average, men appear to have a higher humour production ability than women. Why do you phrase it in such weird fucking ways, man? Damn. Oh yes, we have a higher humour production ability. Yeah, incredible. That's just what we are, we men. What? Man, Dr. Jill says comedian Sarah Pascoe, I believe that's that, is probably funnier than 99% of males. And if she is a comedian, then she probably is funnier than 99% of males. I have no question about that. In most cases, I would agree with that. Speaking to a Radio 1 Newsbeat on Tuesday, he added to clarify the whole... Oh, Jill was a man. Maybe it's Gil then. I don't know. The whole thing is not about women are not funny. Obviously, there are some very funny stand-up comedians, and I know many female comedians, some personally. Sarah Pascal, for example, she's a great comedian, and she's probably funnier than 99% of all males in the world. It's just that on average, we find there's a difference. I still feel there's going to be some tea spilled about this. People just can't handle just ridiculous, normal stuff. It's just like, I don't know. I want to see where else this goes. He says evidence suggests humor plays a major role in mating. I mean, you see funny guys, they get with people and you're like, how did that happen? You're like, they're freaking hilarious. That's how that happened. The lecturer said that women tend to look for a sense of humor in a partner, and it's strongly correlated with intelligence. So sense of humor is correlated with intelligence. I'm bang average. So I'm bang average. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Men, on the other hand, prefer women who laugh at their humor. Again, makes sense. 100%. That means that over our evolutionary history, men likely had to compete harder with other men to impress women with their sense of humor. Right, so there might be a biological reason. This is incredible. We're really learning a lot here, I guess. Maddie Bai, along with her sister Marina, make up the comedy duo Siblings. says she finds the study frustrating but also funny. Why is it frustrating if it's just facts? I don't understand why facts are frustrating if they're true. You know? Seems like this is true. But who am I? Just a guy on a camera on the internet, probably projecting this to about 72 people. So, you know, I'm killing it. Being in the comedy world, I don't think we've done a gig in the last 3 years where there wasn't an equal amount of men and women on the bill. Well, that's good, I guess. If they're funny, men and women, then I guess that's what you go to a comedy show for. There are so many amazing male and female comedy shows. I don't know why they're trying to make it a scientific fact that women aren't funny. They're not saying... I just read this article, and that's not what I got out of this at all. They weren't saying women aren't funny. They just said, on average, men are funnier than women. They're not saying women aren't funny. They aren't mutually exclusive. Then it doesn't work like that. Oh my God! You're supposed. They said comedians correlate with higher intelligence. Where is your intelligence, man? What is going on? Maddie says that being a female in comedy is better than it was before, but it's still a man's world. Well, try going to Saudi Arabia then. Try going to Pakistan. Try going to Southeast Asia. India. Well, seems pretty good here. I'm learning that the West treats women pretty damn well. As they should. As they should. But the rest of the world treats them pretty badly. Pretty badly. Yeah. So, it is a man's world, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. That's how it has been for a long time. But you live in the best part of it. So, like, you do you. Be funny. People will come eventually, I guess. I don't know. She recalls handing out flyers for the show at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and a woman said it looked good, but her boyfriend doesn't think women are funny. I buy that. I'm sure there are women who say that they don't think men are funny as well, in the same regard. That man might be in the minority. I don't know. I don't know the inner workings of every person's head in the world, alright? I don't. What I do know is, what this study says, men, on average, are funnier than women. And I can buy that. Last sentence in the article, the stereotype does exist, but our way of dealing with it is to just do comedy. And I 100% agree with that final statement. Just do comedy, lad. Do what you need to do. I think that those comedians who were there, I don't know what their name was, the siblings, I think they took the wrong, bite out of the article. It shouldn't have been looked in such a negative way. It was genuinely just stating facts that the research found. And to have a problem with that is like someone having a problem with the wage gap. If you don't understand the wage gap, just like these people don't understand this study clearly, then I understand why you'd be annoyed. But if you understand what the wage gap really is, it sort of folds in on itself, Yeah. There might be an employment gap between certain roles men and women have, but the actual wage gap is utter nonsense because it doesn't account for different jobs and time hours worked and the amount of time you take off and, part-time, full-time. It doesn't matter. My point is, actually understand how to break down information. You didn't even need to do it here because BBC just picked out the important parts. I'll read the research later because I like doing this type of stuff. But, man, you're supposed to be smart. They said comedians are smart. It doesn't seem like those sibling sisters were that intelligent. So I guess I do have a hope in comedy. You never know, lads. You might see me at the Comedy Cellar, the comedy club one day. Banging it out. Getting, a laugh out of pity. Who knows? Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there. If you didn't, then no one will ever laugh at your joke. You might say one, it might be the funniest joke in the world. 99% of people would laugh at it. But the person you want to laugh at it won't. And that can be very embarrassing. It can be. But you don't want that. You really don't. So just subscribe anyway to avoid that. Now, I've been NarendraTheComic. You've been great. I'll see you next time. skadoosh.